So I'm kicking my husband out after he asked for a DNA test on our baby. Here go the last of your stuff. Don't come back.
I beg your pardon?
I know if I'm paying the bills to that house, your ass ain't kicking me out my own house. Wait a second, she can make up a lie and law enforcement can still kick you out of your own house. All right, cool, bet.
What the fuck did I do wrong? Tell me.
18-year-old Tiana. Mr. Bell, you are not.
I knew it!
Thank you! Thank you!
I knew it!
I knew it! I told you! He's a liar! No, he's a liar!
And I know who the daddy
I told
is.
you! I told you!
I know who the daddy is!
Don't swipe now. Come back here. Hey, ladies, did you know that paternity fraud is now a crime? Yeah, let's talk about House Bill 2689, because they locking y'all up.
Nice.
New tonight, a bill proposed in the Tennessee state legislature could make it mandatory now for fathers out of wedlock to take a DNA test before signing a birth certificate.
Hell yeah! Hell yeah!
Fox 13 government reporter Kayla Solomon joins us live. Kayla, this bill was discussed and passed in a House committee today. And, you know, it goes back. There have been advocates who said it could solve a lot of problems if it were just the first thing that happens for all babies.
Yo, we got Florida getting rid of the permanent alimony, and then we got Tennessee over here doing some mandatory DNA tests. Oh, y'all hear this, ladies? Ain't none of y'all gonna be safe. Even the ones down there in the Sukiani trenches.
All right, men, it's our time. Our time has come. Ladies, your time has come too. Guess what? Maternity fraud is now legally a crime, and if a man is forced to pay child support for a child that was not his, oh, get ready. Guess what, ladies? You now owe the entirety of all that child support back to that man. If a man gets asked for a paternity test and that child is not his, which, by the way, 30% of the time it isn't.
Facts, facts, big facts.
Well, that's changing, two of them, in fact. So the first one is that they are going to start mandating paternity tests at the time of birth for children. The reason why is when they do get maternity tests, turns out that 1/3 of the fathers are not the biological father. The other one is that they're going to be changing the child support laws so that if you can't collect child support unless it's from the biological father, and the biological father must have actually been a part of your life, meaning that a one-night stand cannot be held for child support. The person actually had to play a significant role in your life. So I think the law is trying to incentivize that you stay loyal. Doesn't seem like a crazy change to me.
Perfect.
The one night stands are only knowing them for just a couple of months, and then they get a baby, and next thing you know, oh.
So those of you who are in Tennessee, guess what? House Bill 2689 is getting ready to pass. That is requiring paternity tests before you sign the birth certificate. Because, you know, when people do paternity tests 1/3 of the time, they end up not being the father. And if they start testing everybody, that number can only go up, not down. It's going to be dramatic. And right now they're starting to also add in things like, you know, maternity fraud is a crime and a punishable crime. So guys used to go to jail for not paying child support on a child that wasn't theirs because the state wants to get their money, because if there is no father to pay for the child support, somebody has to pay for it, so they push it onto the nearest person that could be a father figure.
Oh boy, like this brings me joy to my heart. Yo, within that clip where the judge actually ruled that guy not being the father, do you not understand what this means? Y'all know what this means? The hood booger in that court needs to pay back all of the child support, and honestly, she should face jail time. Equality. And then you got wives and women out here being mad, trying to kick a man out of a house, talking about, oh, you could go ahead and leave my house. Women typically like to get upset when you actually try to do a DNA test, trying to make sure that the child is yours or not. Basically, they take you as a joker and just to sit there and take it.
Yeah. When you bring me out, can you introduce me as Joker?
As we already know, daddy government will definitely enforce men to bend them to their will, to make them accountable on things like this. There are just certain ways and avenues that people can avoid such accountability. Oh, I know how to avoid them too.
This Representative Antonio Parkinson is sponsoring House Bill 2698 that would require DNA evidence proving paternity before a man signs a birth certificate for a child that may not be biologically his.
The state has been turning a blind eye to this by allowing people to sign blindly without any proof of DNA association to this child.
The states have been having a blind eye and their ears have been shut for decades because money are going into their pockets and it's taking all of the money out from the men. Everybody else is eating except for the man.
Which is allowing people to be guilty, or in some cases, of paternity fraud, which is a crime. It's only right and the moral thing to do, an ethical thing to do, to ensure that the right people's names that match their DNA is on that birth certificate. Anything other than that, you are stealing a child from a biological parent, and it's state sanctioned.
Y'all really want to know what the women think of this law?
I completely understand where you're coming from with the DNA testing should be mandatory, but it has to be a little bit more nuanced than that. So is the DNA test mandatory anytime he calls for it? Yes, absolutely. You should be able to say, I want to know that for sure that little brat running around over there straight came out of my ball sack. This I have to know because I am legally obligated to pay for it, and I'm not paying for it if it came out of somebody else's ball sack. In that case, 100%. But should it be mandatory in every single case, irregardless of all circumstances? Now you're asking people to give up liberty. Because the last time we heard mandatory, it involved a pokey and it ruined a lot of lives.
What the fuck are you talking about?
So that's just my gut pushback. It's just like, you've got to be so super careful when you decide everybody must. It's just this really slippery slope. But for men that want it, game on like Donkey Kong.
You on drugs? He has me all the way up until like there's a slippery slope. What's so slippery slope about this? A swab? Swab her mouth, swab your mouth, swab the baby's mouth. That's it. Like, I kind of don't get it. What's the pokey poke?
The United States making DNA testing mandatory is stupid.
Oh, of course y'all think it's stupid. Yo, ladies, y'all about to get this work. Give it some more time and whatnot. Equality between putting y'all hands on men, equal rights, equal less, to we're gonna legalize and equal the whole playing field when it comes down to this. Paternity fraud is not cool and it happens to a whole lot of people. And oh, trust me, I'm a firm believer of making sure a child is yours.
I don't think that, you know, it's something that if you feel like you need a DNA test, go do that on your own time because you feel that way. I don't think every person, there's millions of people in the United States. Like, it doesn't make sense that people could be using that time to do other things. Like, you could be saving a life. You could be in a hospital saving a life.
What are you, fucking stupid?
I personally pay taxes, and I care about where my money goes.
Oh my God! Wow!
I'm not here to pay for so-and-so because there's a confusion about who's the father. That's not my business. Handle your personal shit. And for me, I want to fund schools. I want to fund the MTA because the trains are never on time. We got bigger problems. We have bigger problems. I'm sorry. I'm not paying for no mandatory test.
Shut your... Let us understand why it's so selfish of you women who debate, because we hear these stories time and time again. We see numerous clips of men presenting the DNA papers to their woman and say, hey, look, it's proof that I am not the father.
Paternity test, you say? That's a hell of a thing. A maternity test doesn't determine who the father is. But you know what? I am all for this. I think we absolutely should do mandatory paternity tests for every baby born, ever. Because I, for one, am exhausted listening to men cry about how much they do not want to ever take care of their own child.
So I don't agree with a lot that they do in politics, but I agree with this one. The hustle is over. The scams are done in the state of Tennessee. And I know some of y'all feel like, well, why should we have to do all of this? They should trust me, because y'all be lying. The women be lying. And if you know that this is his baby without a shadow of a doubt, husband, boyfriend, baby daddy, it don't matter who it is. Let them go on and get that paternity test, sis. If you on the up and up, it shouldn't bother you. And for all of those women out there faking pregnancy to scam men, ooh, y'all big mad now, ain't you? No, ma'am, that's not what we're gonna do. Because I see your other comments in the thread. And for me, this is how this comment reads. I never intended on being a family. I never intended on being with this man long term. I got pregnant. Oops, it is what it is. Go ahead and give me my child support. You are not even giving this man an opportunity to prove that he is a active, present father or he's a deadbeat. And you want to automatically put him on child support? No, ma'am.
This one, she's a keeper.
And I ain't gonna sit here and lie, this sister right here is speaking complete facts right about now, because there's a whole lot of games that they're gonna sit here and play, especially when it comes down to bearing children. Yo, y'all listen to me. Whether or not the guy and the girl in the relationship didn't want the kid or not, we already know automatically the woman gets this last say when it comes down to the child, especially with family court, how everything is one-sided. But y'all keep it up right about now, because times is shifting. The truth is coming out more and more, and everything else is going to be said and heard at the end of the day. And you know what's funny right now? Marriage and family courts, I really think is going to start actually being redefined as things continuously progress. We're probably going to see even more reform go down in the future, but you know what? The states, the court system, they really don't want to give that part up, because it's all of the money that's being cycled through.
So I know this video gonna make the girls want to tussle with me, but I don't care. I think DNA testing should be mandatory at birth, right then and there. Not only is it very much foul to have somebody thinking that they are the father of a child and they are not. I don't care how y'all put that. I don't care what excuse y'all make. That's foul. But that's not the only reason I say that. These hospitals be mixing people babies up. So he might not be the daddy, but you might not be the mama either. So I think to save people 18 years of dealing with a foul baby mama, because usually women that do that be foul. You gonna get this man hell knowing it ain't his baby. It should just be a DNA test right there, right in and there when a baby is born.
Unfortunately, the courts don't feel this way. If you are married, like for instance, my husband and I are married, and I was to get pregnant by another man, he would be responsible for the child support for 18 years, even though it's not his child, because we're married. That's the way the courts work. So messed up.
But what I'm trying to understand is, how is the women's rights being compromised when soon as the baby start crying, you filing for child support? How is your rights being compromised when you're requiring them to care for this child? Like, it's not making sense to me. The only people that's would have a problem with this is these fuck women, okay? And quite frankly, I feel like men should have a DNA. It should be automatic. It should be a law. Okay.
Long story short, I'm pretty sure we can see right about now why women would have a big problem with this, because those incentives are actually at risk of drying up. And I can't tell you how many good men that I know, and me personally, what I've seen and experienced, that this is happening to so many of these men out here, and there's a whole nother narrative that will get spin off. But you know what? The truth is coming. A reckoning is at hand. Independent women, y'all are single. There's no problem with that. And you know what? We're here for you, and we want you to exercise that independence too. So right down below, y'all please let me know down in the comment section, what do y'all think of this topic? Mandatory DNA. Is this well needed? This should have been done a long time ago. Also, child support laws. Are you being extorted for child support? Yo, y'all let me know your stories down below, and be easy.